Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my channel. I am in my bullet journal. If you saw my last video, you would see that I switched over to a bullet journal for 2019, and I decided to flip on the camera this week and let you guys watch along as I planned out the week. So I've sketched it out, and I'm just going to pull out a black pigment pen here. And this is a permanent pen so that no matter what kind of coloring or ink I want to do over the top, I know it won't smear. And I'm just going to go ahead and create my boxes for my days of the week. Now, most of you, if you've ever watched along, I'm a vertical style planner. I always have been in my A5. But I saw this spread, the style of spread on a Pinterest page. And I thought I'm going to give it a try, just for something different, just because I'm always, up for new ideas. And it gave me some opportunities for some doodling and just other ways to be creative. So basically, I'm dividing each page into quarters, and 6 out of those quarters are going to be days. And then I'll have some decoration up in the upper left quarter, and then on the bottom right of the other page, I'll have some room for some master lists. So you can see here my little swatch page for all of my cube inks, and I'm sticking with the colors that I've gone with for all of January, which are teals and sort of cornflower blues, powder blues, and I've had just this chilly snowflake theme. This could not be more appropriate. In Michigan, it is below 0 temperatures right now, and we have just had, the news is calling it an Arctic blast. We just had a major dump of snow, and we are inside, cuddled up, and this snow theme could not be more fitting. So I'm taking I have these really, really old rubber snowflake stamps. They are like before I even got into scrapbooking. I don't know where these came from, but they are rubber-backed stamps, and I'm just using them to add snowflakes in a couple of the corners of those big day boxes, and that'll be where I put the date. So when I stamp on the left-hand side, I don't know if you guys can see, I've got an acrylic block under there. At the very beginning of my book, everything lays flat, but because there's so few pages on the left and so many on the right, it just has like a little bit of an angle to it. So just for support, I put an acrylic block under there, and it really helps to get a good impression when you are stamping. So just a tip, if you're starting out in a bound bullet journal like this and you want to do stamping, at the beginning of the book you'll need it on the left side, at the end of the book you'll need it on the right side, just to level things out. But just something simple like that will work. So I'm doodling. My idea here is completely inspired by another page that I saw on Instagram and Pinterest, and that was the one page I saw. It was sweaters, like cozy sweaters. I think it was like a November or December spread. And so I'm borrowing the little scarf idea from, if I can find that page, I will link it below so that you guys can see whoever the original person was that designed that. But I'm using that for 2 of my boxes, and then I'm going to create like kind of a fuzzy winter hat on one of the other boxes. But I am just simple doodles here, just drawing some lines to create these little scarves and make them look like they're wrapped across the top of my day boxes. And so the knots of the scarves, again, will give me a little landing place for my date. And here I am in the upper right, I'm drawing like a little puffy hat. And this is not fancy drawing at all. I am not an artist or an illustrator. I'm just playing around and having fun with it. No big deal. Trying to make it look like these things are wrapped around my boxes. Now down in that last box, I'm trying to decide. I had originally sketched out another hat, but I'm feeling like, excuse me, I'm feeling like I want another snowflake because I want kind of that trio of snowflakes to bring your eye across the page. So I grabbed another design, and I'm just putting that in the corner. And then just like I did with the other boxes, I just use my straight edge to finish off the edges of the box. behind the snowflake to make it look like the snowflake is layered in front. So there we go. And you can see I'm just using a nice eraser to erase my sketch lines from underneath, and the beauty of these smudge-proof pens is right after you draw, you can just go right over everything with an eraser. It doesn't smear the ink, and it just gets rid of your sketch lines. So that final box is going to be my weekend box. It's going to have Saturday on top and Sunday down below, so I've just drawn a line to split it, and hopefully that'll give me enough space for Saturday and Sunday. Again, I said I don't normally do this format. I normally do a vertical, but I just wanted to try it out just to have some other space to play with. So up in the upper left-hand corner, I have a sketch there. I don't know if you can see it. It's a little penguin on ice skates. And just up right next to him, I wanted to have the month. So I pulled out that Studio Calico set, and I'm just stamping the month. And again, the more I play with this notebook, the better, the more impressed I am, I should say, with how easily I can stamp. I don't even have to think about what inks I'm picking. It's just so nice. It's very, very freeing. It's kind of expanded what I feel like I can do in my planners. So now I'm following my sketch lines, and again, this is a super rough, easy sketch of a little penguin. And all I did was Pinterest, not Pinterest, excuse me, I Googled like January images or cold weather images, and I don't know, this one that came up on Google I just thought was kind of cute, so I literally just draw exactly what I saw on screen. This did not come out of my out of my imagination or anything. I just found a little image that I thought was cute online and freehanded it into my page. And I sketched it first with pencil, and like I said, if I go over it with that black pen, then I can just erase everything, and it looks like I just drew it right off the bat. So in one of my previous pages, I added just the slightest touch of that Flirty Flamingo color, and it goes really nicely with my teals and blues and pool colors, just when you add just the slightest bit of it. So I'm going to use that for the beak and the ice skates, and it was just a little too pink for the beak, so I added a little Mango Melody just to make it a little more orange there. But it's a nice tiny pop of color. I don't add it anywhere, very little amount of it, because I really want most of it to be these cool wintry colors. So I'm just finishing to draw in the details, and then I will be able to color these in. And I have, what I'm using to color, and you saw there a minute ago, is I'm using my ink pads, and I'm putting them on my glass mat here. This is the Tim Holtz Media Mat, and I love it. And I'm putting those onto the white side there so I can see the color. And then I'm just using a blender pen to apply the color, and it goes on just beautifully. However, what I did discover is that some ink formulations work better for this than others. So the Hero Arts inks, it's this cornflower blue that I'm using right now, does not seem to spread as well with the blender pen as my Stampin' Up! Inks do. And I just think, every ink is formulated differently and used for different techniques. So this one just didn't seem to spread as smoothly. I didn't mind, because this was just a little sketchy look, and I was just trying to add a bit of color, so it was okay. I just went with it. But I will know from now on that if I really want to color with this blender pen, I will probably choose my other ink brands. However, I love that cornflower color. It's my favorite, so I did have to use it here. So now I'm using the Balmy Blue ink from Stampin' Up! And it's just much smoother with the blender pen. It spreads a lot easier. And this blender pen I got from Stampin' Up!, but I think you can get them separately also. I think it's a Dove brand blender pen. Is that right? I'll take a look, but this one came from Stampin' Up! And it's double-sided. And if you've never used one of these before, all you do is sort of wipe off the tip on a scratch paper between colors, because it just naturally fades out to blank anyway. When you get a little on the tip, it just adds a little bit of some solution, enough to make it spread, and then it fades right out. So you can pick a little bit of ink up, and you could put it on a palette or on an acrylic block. Pick a little ink up with the blender pen, apply it to your page, and then scribble it off on scratch paper before you switch to a new color. So you can see that's exactly what I'm doing. I've colored in the scarf and the hat for my cute little penguin, and then I colored in the hat over on the upper right in the same style and colors as my penguin. And now I'm going to color those two little scarves in. And because I didn't want to go back to that Hero Arts ink, I just chose one of my full-size ink pads. This is a Stampin' Up! Ink. It's Coastal Cabana is the color. And I just grabbed the full-size one because I knew it would spread a little better. So for this scarf, I'm doing just simple squiggly lines to make it look almost like it was striped knit or something. Just give it some texture. And this is super rough. I mean, this is not perfect at all. I'm just scribbling it in there to add a little bit of faint color and texture to these cute scarves. And then right over the top of my squiggles, I'll add a little shading just under that knot and at the bottom of the knot, just to give it some dimension. And I just think it comes out cute. It's so subtle. I'm not, doing anything fancy, and obviously these real pale colors just keeps everything nice and subtle so that I can still focus on what I have going on throughout the week. So I felt like I needed a little bit more color. So with these Stampin' Up! Inks, you close the ink pad and you just give it a little squeeze, and you can see that circle. It transfers like a circle of ink from the foam pad up to the lid, and it gives you a little fresh palette to work with there. So I did that before I started this second scarf, and now for this scarf I'm doing more like fuller stripes instead of those little zigzags. And I'm just adding stripes to the body of the scarf and to the knot there, and putting a little shading in. And it just turns out it's so simple. I mean, anyone could draw this and fill this in, and it is so simple and just turns out pretty cute and adds a little bit of color throughout your page. So I think that's it for my blender pen for the moment. I'm going to just kind of wipe that all off, get the cap on it. And this is a Tombow brush pen, and I decided to use that to color in the body of my penguin because it has a nice broad tip, and because I don't think it bleeds through to the other side. So I was crossing my fingers. I had tested this out, but this is a pretty big solid area. And you'll see I check it here in a minute, and it looks great. It does not bleed through to the other side, which is awesome. I mean, I'm trying not to oversaturate the page, but you can see I gave it a thumbs up. I checked and it looks great. So I'm just kind of coloring his body in there. Give him a little bit more weight. And I think he turned out pretty cute. And I am going to tie in just a little more black. I pulled out my Pentel brush pen here, and I'm just putting a little script over the top of that stamped January just to layer that up and to add a little bit more black. And you'll see I'll do the same thing down in the lower right hand corner. I'm also grabbing my 0.8 liner pen, my pigment pen, just to put in the dates here. So this is the week of January 21st through the 27th. So I'm just writing my dates really simply over the centers of all of my little design elements in the corners. And then I do want to add the days of the week. Oh, here's a quick tip. I'm just using correction tape. If you make any mistakes with a pigment pen, just use a little correction tape, especially on this nice bright white paper, and you'll hardly notice it. So I pulled out another stamp set. This is a stamp set by Strawberry Jude, and I absolutely love it. And I use it almost every week because it has a stamp in there that says next week, but it also has beautiful script months and then a nice like sans serif days of the week. And I'm using the days of the week now, so you can see. I'm not going to show you every one that I stamp because my big head gets in the way every time, but I'm just choosing like a gray color so that it's kind of nondescript. And you'll see I've got the days of the week all stamped out now. I'm just putting Sunday in. And I used Soft Granite by Hero Arts for that. And it came out great. And it just kind of goes with my cool color theme. And like I said, I'm going to add some black down in the lower corner again using that same Pentel brush pen. And I do like to have an area in my weeklies for master tasks for like throughout the week that I don't have like allocated to a specific day yet. And also things that might be coming up in the following week or in the future that I just need to keep in mind. So I have written out here this week and next week, and that'll give me a spot to jot those things down before I get them actually scheduled out in my planner. And again, I love that I can just go right over these with a great soft eraser and get my pencil sketching out from underneath. So this is, we're getting pretty much done with my week, and I'm just kind of double checking from my previous week to make sure I have all the elements that I like in there. But I'm at the tail end here. The last thing I'm doing is numbering my pages and adding them to my index so that I always know, where to find this week. And I just think it turned out super cute. I love it. The only thing I'm going to add is maybe drop shadows to those boxes after the fact. Oh, I do add one swipe by my this week and next week. I do add one swipe of color with my mild liner just to pull in a little bit more of that blue, like cornflower blue color. And then my final touch is some rosy cheeks for my penguin. So that Flirty Flamingo with the blender pen, and just use a tiny little circle on either side of the beak to give them some rosy cheeks. Because it's below 0 here, it would be cold. So here's some still photos. I hope you enjoyed this process video. Again, I'm just still getting started with this, and I'm having so much fun. I'm anxious to try out different styles, different layouts, and hopefully you'll enjoy watching me stumble through it. Thanks very much, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.